truly crafted and signatured Lalique china, or sorry, crystal. Every one of those little circles all the way up the stairs. So when you start looking at all the little attention to detail on our ships, you will see that they really are just so beautifully, beautifully crafted with so much comfort in mind. And when you look at some of these pictures, you will see that sort of residential feeling. This is the newly redesigned Marina, sorry, not Marina, but Regatta, Sirena, or Insignia. All of those ships have been completely re-inspired over the past year or so. And these are some of the touches. You see all of the real plants and all of the very comfortable furniture. This glass etching at the top of the staircase is actually a handcrafted piece, a different one for each ship that was installed when we did the re-inspiration. So much beautiful attention to detail. The living space that you will have, this is the Regatta class, again, the Regatta, the Insignia, the Nautica, or the Sirena, but the interiors, the staterooms have all been very completely redesigned, and you're going to see all of these beautiful touches. I'm going to switch over to something else just for a minute, because I have some of the more updated, beautiful pictures, and I want you to see those as well. So just give me 1 second. Okay. I also want to tell you a little bit about the security and the, I know a lot of you probably have questions about the security. What's going to happen when you get on the ships as you sail in the future? And all of the cruise lines are working right now in conjunction with the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in the US. Everyone is paused now till at least September 15. Oceania has paused through to the end of September, and really nobody knows when exactly we'll be sailing again. So we appreciate that we're not going to be sailing anytime really soon, but we want to look ahead to 2021, 2022, and all of the wonderful adventures that await us. We have a team working on a full plan, and we have released some of the health and safety features. So if you go to our website when you get time and look under oceaniacruises.com/health, you'll see some of the announcements we've already made about boarding, about some of the life on board, about how even we're going to handle some of the shore tours and things like that. And you can really take a look at that now, but keep in mind that that is a work in progress, and we are not going to put anybody on our ships until we are confident and secure that everything is going to be taken care of to take care of your health and your safety. So the ships themselves, the Regatta class ships, the size again is what's so important. It's just 650 guests maximum. And that is really a lovely size of ship to give you that personal attention to detail. And it's a different way to travel. These were our original ships, and a lot of our guests have sailed on these for many, many years. And when we built Marina and Riviera, many of our guests just chose to stay with the Regatta class because they just love the intimacy and the warmth of these ships as well. Then we have our O-class ships, Marina and Riviera. These ships are a little bit bigger, but they're still only 1,250 guests. So when you think about ships and the size of ships and the number of people on ships and the space that we have on board our ships, you will see that we are much more spacious and much smaller than many of the ships that are sailing out there today. And that is for a certain type of person. That's for a person that doesn't need all of the huge bells and whistles of skating rinks and climbing walls and all those kind of things that maybe a family would be more tuned into. But we're really more tuned into the dining and all of the things that we offer to make everything just right for people like us. And when you see the size of the ship, Regatta class, with just 650 people, and then you go up to Marina and Riviera with 1,250, you start comparing those ships to ships that take thousands of people, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, even 5,000 guests in many cases, and you really can see the perspective there of the difference in the size of the ship. This is a little bit of a look at the interior of our ships, and again, the attention to detail. You can see up on the right there, that handcrafted merino glass chandelier that you'll find in the veranda cafe in all of our ships. You see all of the comfortable furniture and the beautiful furnishings that we have on board. Everything again designed with your complete and total comfort in mind. Then we have, of course, our amazing team on board. And this team is really one of the reasons why people come back and sail with us again and again. And I'm sure some of you that have sailed with us will agree. When we were sailing our last cruise on Marina prior to our pause of operations, we had such raving, beautiful reviews from all of the guests that sailed on that ship. They felt so comfortable. They actually ended up on a cruise that was quite extended, and they had an extra trip through the Panama Canal. And all of the people on that ship, because everybody was well and it was such a wonderful environment, just raved about the staff on board and how well they were taken care of, even in a difficult situation. So when you think about an everyday life, when things are in a lot more of an ideal world, that team on board is the reason why people come back and sail with us time and time again. And of course, the beautifully crafted cuisine. We have such a beautiful dining experience on board. And if you've sailed with us, you know that you don't pay for dining in any of our restaurants on Oceania cruises. Everything is, all of your dining experiences are included. And there are really the reasons why we can be the finest cuisine at sea. There's three real reasons. First of all, it's our culinary team. Many of you probably know Jacques Papin. He's a world-renowned master chef, and he has been with Oceania Cruises since we started the company. He has assembled an amazing team of chefs from all over the world, and each one of these chefs has a passion for their craft. Many of our recipes come from family members of some of the chefs on board. They're all people who just truly, truly love the culinary experience, love to cook for our guests, and you can really tell when you come on board and experience dining on Oceania Cruises. And then, of course, there's, sorry, go ahead.
Just to mention, Laura just put some stuff in the chat that she had sailed on Nautica, I think it was, Laura? And she said she loved the smaller ships because you can get into the smaller ports more easily.
Absolutely. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about some of those ports, but thank you, Laura. That's such a good point, because we are able to get into some of those smaller ports that the big ships just simply cannot get into. So,
and even with St. Petersburg and the other ports, you can get farther in. Like some of them,
yes,
there's a bridge, you have to stop there. This one, we could keep on going all the way up and get right into town.
absolutely. And that's such a wonderful feature of a smaller ship. In addition to a lot of other things that are great about a small ship, it's easier to get on, it's easier to get off. But yes, getting under those bridges in certain places where you just simply cannot do that on a bigger ship.
And you don't have to be at a port way, way out of town and have to do the bus shuttle in and every time come back for lunch and then go back again. You're right in town with the way where the port is. So
absolutely. And you can run back onto the ship and have your lunch if you want, and in these beautiful settings, in these beautiful environments, in all of our beautiful restaurants. And whatever restaurant you choose to dine in, it is always service, 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 service. Even in our casual terrace cafe, you are served by our staff. So it's never really a self-serve, even in the restaurants that have food stations on board as well. We have our culinary center. Does anybody like to cook?
I like to eat.
Well, I like to eat too, but I like to cook as well. And I like everything about the dining, about the culinary experience, between chopping and cooking and preparing and all of those things. And we do have the hands-on culinary center where you can take cooking classes with a fantastic chef, learn some wonderful skills, and also create some of those beautiful recipes that you're going to enjoy on board and be able to take that home with you. I think it's often about what we take home with us, don't you? I think that we take home memories, or we take home treasures, or probably less and less material treasures as we get older, and more those moments that we remember, those experiences that we had while we have been sailing around the beautiful world. So we have, of course, a great selection of destinations that you can travel to. And all of us have different ideas of maybe where we'd like to travel and how we'd like to travel. Europe has always been a true favorite of mine. I love the Mediterranean. I love the Greek Isles. I love Northern Europe. I love every part of Europe. But of course, if you're more in tune to doing something a little more exotic, we have our South Americas and our South Africas. And if some of you are interested in Australia, New Zealand, we sail all over the world. But wherever we are sailing, it is exactly what we were just talking about. It's getting into some of those smaller ports of call that the bigger ships just simply cannot get into. And we have such a range of itineraries, anywhere from 7 days in the Mediterranean or the Caribbean, all the way to 180 days around the world. Who would think they'd like to go on an around the world cruise here? It would be just so fantastic. Can you imagine 6 months and see pretty well? And the interesting thing about the around the world is many people do it more than once because we change the itinerary every year. So it's always something a little bit different. Sometimes it does a little more of Europe and then carries on through the Suez Canal. Sometimes it goes through the Pacific. There's always a different route for our around the world cruise. And if you don't have 180 days available, you can always take segments of the around the world cruise. So if you're looking for something in a particular part of the world, do look at the around the world cruise, because there might be just the perfect segment that goes exactly where you want to go on your next trip. And this is just an example. I really do love Europe. And I was thinking about this the other day when I was going for a walk. I thought, you know what, if I had just one more trip to go on, where would I like to go? And I often have thought in different situations, somewhere I haven't been before. But I started thinking as I was walking along, you know what? I just have a longing to go back to Italy. I really want to go to Italy. I feel comfortable there. I can imagine, I can remember all of the times I spent in Italy, and whether it was cooking or whether it was eating or whether it was sitting in a cafe or exploring a beautiful museum. I just really want to go back to Italy. And we have a lot of itineraries that will give you a broad selection of different places, but we also have itineraries that sort of focus a little bit more on a specific area. This one does quite a lot of Italy and even goes into Malta, which is a great little spot. But what this itinerary shows you, and I just want to give you a glimpse at a couple of itineraries, is that we are in ports most days. So if you really want to see the world, and it's not just, you just don't want to go cruising just to do, well, as much as it's wonderful to sit on a ship at sea, I love those moments too, but many of our cruises are in ports of call almost every single day, and we try and spend more time in the ports of call as well. I was mentioning before, we do a mixture of those little places that are a little bit maybe unexpected from some of the premium cruise lines or some of the other cruise lines. We do Cinque Terre. It's such a fabulous, this is part of, I start thinking of Italy again, and I think of getting off the ship and taking a train from one of the little towns to the next. And we usually spend enough time there that you would have the time in a long day to do most of the places, whether you do it by train or whether you do it by a coach excursion. Monte Carlo, then when I think of Monte Carlo, I say, yes, Monte Carlo's lovely, but then you'll have a chance to get out of Monte Carlo and go to Villefranche and Ez and all of those beautiful places on the French Riviera. So we try and mix up the itinerary so that you're going to get some of the ports that you would be expecting more, but you're also going to get some different little places that maybe you haven't been before.
And Laura's just mentioning, Catherine, and one of the advantages again of the small ship, got to stay in St. Petersburg for 3 days.
Exactly, and thank you. She's reading my mind and I'm following right along her train of thought, because that's what exactly I was just going to say about, look at this itinerary. You're spending 2 days in Lisbon, you're spending 2 days in Bordeaux, so you are spending more time in those beautiful places that you would love to stay. And this is also another example of getting close up. You can get right into Bordeaux. You go right up the river and right into Bordeaux. So exactly the point. Wherever it is in the world, it doesn't matter. These are just examples. And this is also an example of kind of a repositioning where it's a different itinerary. We go from London, we go all the way down around France and Spain and back up the other coast of Spain. So that time in ports of call and those overnight stays, so you can have time both by day and by night in these beautiful places. And that is an advantage of Oceania Cruises. That again is one of the pillars with our exquisitely crafted itineraries, that we make sure that we give you as much quality time as we possibly can in the ports of call. And then we do it in many different ways. So as you probably have gathered by now, I really do love food. And a lot of the things that we do on Oceania are, if you want them to be, very much centered around food. And not only food, but I think our culinary discovery tours not only give you a chance to go shopping in the ports of call with the chef and learn to pick. I remember picking out a perfect tomato with one of our chefs when we were shopping in one of the markets. And it's just these little things. And then they take you, this is Chef Kelly in the middle, who is the blonde woman, is our director of our culinary center. She's the one who started the culinary center. And she is with a chef in France here. And they take you to the home of this chef, and she prepares a beautiful meal and serves everyone out in her garden. So these are the culinary tours. If you're interested in this type of thing, you can participate in some of our culinary tours. If you're interested in getting into really the close-up culture of some of these places, we started creating these Go Local tours last year. And in all parts of the world, again, we do Go Local tours, and we're building more and more Go Local tours onto our program, where you live like a local would. You do a day, this would be a day, for example, in Amsterdam, the way, and I don't know what you call an Amsterdam person, an Amsterdamian, I don't know what you call a person who, the way a Dutch person would do Amsterdam. You get a bicycle and you go off bicycling. It lends itself quite nicely to that. Then you go out into the countryside, just the way a person would do it if they were a local. And we do this all over the place. There was one I looked at the other day that was in Valencia, and they went out truffle hunting with dogs, and they found the truffles, and they actually took the truffles back to the ship and used them that night on their dinner. So all of these sort of Go Local and culinary type tours are available for you as well. If you like the spa, which is the other thing that I very, very much like, we have our wellness tours. So if you're interested in that, you can go to some beautiful spas of the world and take that whole wellness feeling right into the ports of call, as well as experiencing on board with our Aquamar spa. And if you want to explore a little bit more overland, so there are places that, as much as we would like to see, we can see everything in the world by ship. There are some places that just require a little bit more of a land tour. You need to get a little bit further inland. We have partnered with some beautiful operators to give you those overland extensions, and they're very much at the level of what an Oceania cruise would be. So when you look at Iguazu Falls, you can take a pre or post out of Buenos Aires and do a beautiful tour there. All of the different places in the world, you can do a safari in South Africa. We can add those on, and I know Sheila can help you with any kind of extension that you want with any operator anywhere in the world, and she has some beautiful independent operators as well that she can work with you on. But these are some of the tours that we do, and we've expanded them more and more over the last couple of years into a lot of overland destinations. So in whatever way it is that you want to explore, whether you're interested in culinary, whether you want the more traditional type tours where we have, historic tours, art tours, whatever it is that you are interested in, we have something tailored to that. And we've always said it's your world, your way. We know everybody's different. We know that everybody has different interests. So we've tailored a lot of beautiful experiences for you. We also have more personal tours. If you want to tour with fewer people, with just a smaller group, you can take some of the exclusive tours that we have. So we have a lot of different ways for you to discover this beautiful world. And of course, there is very great value with Oceania Cruises. And that's something that, of course, is important to all of us. Everybody wants something different when they take their vacation. And to every person, value is something different. So what we at Oceania have tried to do is think of the things that everybody needs, that everybody will take advantage of, and include those in the price. So things like, and this is funny because the first thing on this list is internet. A few years ago, that wasn't a necessity that everybody needed. That was just something some people used and they could pay for it. It really wasn't that important. Now everybody needs to be connected. So we include internet for everyone on board. We include dining in all of our restaurants, our room service, things like that that you are going to use and you don't need to pay for. In many of the ports of call in the world, we have little shuttles that take you from the ship into the city centers. We include all of our fitness classes because most of our guests have a very healthy and active lifestyle and they want to keep fit while they're on board as well. All of your waters, your still and sparkling waters. We stopped using bottled water last year. We went to our Vero water, which has been very, very popular with our guests with the environment in mind. And all of your soft drinks, your specialty coffees and baristas, our beautiful cafe where you can go and get cappuccinos and espressos. All of those things are included for you and you don't need to pay extra. Then we came up with O-Life Choice a few years ago, where we can add to the value. And again, depending on who you are and what is good value to you. So we have included our airfare in O-Life Choice. And of course, if you want to upgrade to business class air, we have options for you to do that as well. But then you get a choice, either a number of shore excursions or a beverage package or a shipboard credit. Because we know not everybody drinks, so not everybody wants a beverage package. And we also know that maybe Sheila's created some beautiful independent shore excursions for you that you might want to do. And so you might not want to take our shore excursions. Whichever works for you is the way that you can go ahead and build your O-Life Choice package. Right now, there is some great value out there, and I know a lot of people are wondering, will there be better value down the road? Are we going to get some really good deals on cruises? I think you have to keep in mind quality, first of all, and really, in many cases, you get what you pay for. And when you start looking at the prices of Oceania cruises right now, because we have our ultimate sale, we have reduced our prices right across the board for 2021 and 2022. So what you will be paying for an Oceania cruise now is closer to what you maybe would have paid for a premium market cruise, a cruise like Princess or Holland or Celebrity before. So your price points are probably going to be very much in line with what a premium cruise would have been. And that, I think, is great, great value for you. Also, our ultimate pricing is combinable with our O-Life Choice. So that's a very good value as well. And then we have a travel assurance program. So if for some reason down the road, we come out with a better public offer that is a better price than what you paid on the ultimate sale, we will allow you to take advantage of whichever deal is better. So you can book now and be assured that you're not going to be penalized for booking early. It's, I think, going to be very important to start booking now for a lot of reasons. A lot of you want to go to some very unique destinations and do some beautiful things. So whether it's Australia, New Zealand, whether it's South America, whether it's wherever it is in the world, everybody who was going to travel in 2020 pretty much is now going to want to travel in 21 or 22. So those cruises are starting to book up. And, you know, there's still pretty good availability right now, but you really shouldn't wait too long because you are going to find there is a pent-up demand, and we are finding more and more bookings. Our bookings are getting more and more robust every single day and every single week. Canadians, of course, we also have many sailings where we have an additional 10% off, and that is kind of to compensate a bit for the exchange rate, and that is combinable with our ultimate sale pricing. So there's some really great value out there for you. Then every now and then we come up with some special occasion that allows us to give you something even extra. So right now, with Canada Day coming next week, we're about to introduce a Canada Day sale. This sale gives you up to a 4-category upgrade on about 60 sailing dates in 2021. So if there's something in 2021 that you're looking for, let Sheila know. And this is combinable with the ultimate pricing that I just told you about and with O-Life Choice. It is not combinable with the Canadian resident rates, but it really, a 4-category upgrade can be quite significant. So if there's something that you are thinking of and you can make up your mind in the next 10 days between July 1 and 10, it would be a really good time to secure your space and get that advantage of that 4-category upgrade. And as I mentioned, the price guarantee that allows you to book with confidence. We also have a travel assurance plan right now. So we are all very, very hopeful that in the not too distant future, our ships will be sailing back and we will have a beautiful, safe environment for you to sail in. But we have to wait for a lot of things to happen before we can do that. So right now, if for any reason, up to 48 hours prior to departure, you change your mind, you don't feel quite sure yet, you're not quite ready yet, then you can cancel up to 48 hours and receive a 100% future cruise credit. So you know you want to sail sometime. You're very hopeful, and I'm very hopeful that it's going to be on the cruise of your choice, maybe in 2021 or whether it's 2022. But if for some reason, just you personally don't feel confident at that point in time, you can cancel for a future cruise credit. So I think that's a really good feature to have so that you don't need to worry about these things. And then we have an exclusive offer through Sheila at Envision Travel, is where right now for all 21 and 22 cruises, you can get free gratuities, veranda categories and above. Gratuities are a value of between $16 and $23 US per person per day. And that on a long cruise can really add up. So it is now available and between the 22nd of June and the 21st of July. And it is combinable with the ultimate pricing. It is combinable with the Canadian resident rates. It's not combinable with the Canada Day sale. But that's any sailing, any time between now and any sailing that we have out there in the marketplace all the way through to 2022.
So this sale is great, as you say, for June 22nd to July 21st. It's a longer block. The Canada Day promo is July 1st to 10. So if you were looking to book in that window of July 1st to 10, we could slice and dice and make sure that you're getting the best promo, whether or not, if you were looking to book at that time, whether or not the free gratuities are the better offer for you or the 4-category upgrade. And I got a feeling the upgrade is going to appeal. But
I kind of think so too. But
maybe if you're doing a world cruise, the gratuities.
Well, actually, Sheila, on the around the world for the 180 days, we're going to throw in the gratuities anyway.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah. But a 4-category upgrade on the around the world would be pretty darn nice. The only thing is that the 4-category upgrade is only available on selected sailings. So keep that in mind too. There are 60 sailings in 2021 that have that Canada Day sale. And Sheila will be able to have a list of those as of today. Tomorrow morning, and she will know which ones are available on the 4-category upgrade. So we don't want to confuse you, but there is great value. As Sheila's saying, whatever cruise you're interested in, you can tell her. She will be able to tell you what it would be if you book during July 1 to 10, and what it would be if you book during the June 21 to July 21 sale. So there's always, there is great value, and more important even, I think, than that value, and I wish I'd said this in the first place, Sheila, is the value that Sheila brings to you, and you know this because you've worked with her, I'm sure all of you, for many years, as a professional travel advisor who really can take care of all of your details. And through this whole situation with COVID-19, I am telling you, people who didn't have a great travel advisor were really not in a good place. They were out there on their own. They had no one to worry about how they were going to get home or what they were going to do. And you really, really have such incredible value. And I know how much Sheila cares about all of her guests. So you're in good hands. You're in good hands with Sheila. So
well, thank you. That's why I like to partner with the best people too. So I only want to put my clients on products that I know, like, and trust. So Oceania is certainly one of them. So we're in a mutual admiration.
We are in a mutual admiration, but I think we've got a lot of other admirers here in the group too. But I just wanted to mention that because I'd be remiss if I didn't. And I want to encourage all of you to remember what it is that you love about travel. And remember why you travel in the first place. And every single one of us will have a different answer. And I think I'd be interesting if we have a minute to ask people, why do you travel? What is it? And we'll ask that question in a second. But, you know, what is it that you would love to do? And I love the fact that Sheila sort of positioned this whole thing as, if you had only one more trip, what would it be? And I think every one of us also probably thinks differently about that today than we may have thought 4 months ago before all of this started, because the world has changed. We have changed as individuals. I know I have changed. I am a completely different person from who I was 4 months ago. And everything's been put into perspective for me. So think about that. Think about what it is. And the reason why I wanted to give you, you know, I didn't talk a lot about specific destinations because I know we all have different desires. I just wanted you to think about, if you had just one more cruise to take, why would you take it on Oceania Cruises? And I think that all of these things, the small ships, the comfort, the service, the way we travel, wherever it is we're traveling in the world, are really great reasons that if you haven't tried us, to please try us. And if you have tried us, come back again, explore, either go back where you've already been, remember what it is, or someplace new and different that maybe you haven't. So it'd be interesting to sort of open it up a little bit and have, if you're comfortable, why do you travel? What is it about travel that you would love? And where is it in the world that if you just had one more trip that you'd love to go?
Sure, I just unmuted everybody.
A lot of shy people? I don't think so.
I would prefer to go to Europe, visit the various countries, discover the culture, the food, customs, so on and so forth. It's incredible to walk into 400-year-old buildings. Don't have air conditioning, but they're majestic.
Absolutely. And have you been to Europe probably before?
I have, not on a cruise though, but I have, my wife has relatives in Germany.
Ah, nice.
Right on. How about you, Pat?
We still like probably Europe the best.
Yeah.
A long time ago, we sailed on one of the smaller ships, probably regatta, right into Venice and up the canal. That was
Wow.
that was beautiful.
And
But we were on the what ship was it? Oh, in March. Our cruise was canceled halfway through the Caribbean, and we went home. That's too bad.
Yeah, that is too bad. Well, I know nobody wanted to do that, but it was really a shame. But you know what you say about sailing into Venice is also one of those things that, and this is one of the things that just hits me every single time. Aren't you glad you did that when you did? Because who knows how long they're going to allow any ship to sail into Venice. I mean, they're putting out conditions for smaller and smaller ships to be able to sail into Venice, whereas it used to be any old ship could sail into Venice, and they allowed it all. So, you know, those little things that make it so lovely again to be on a small ship and to have those experiences when you can and as soon as you can, and never wait, because we don't know if it'll be there tomorrow. I think that's the other thing that we've all realized is.
We started on the ships like the Regatta and all that, but our favorite ship is the Riviera.
Ah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Like
what is it that you love more about Riviera than the smaller ships?
Bathroom.
Yes.
My husband and I found on the Serena that we just got off, it was very difficult in that little shower.
Yeah. You know, that's such a valid point for any of.
Started, and it was never an issue then. And we hated the Riviera when we first got on it, way back. And now we like the size of the bedroom and the size of the bathroom much more.
Yeah. When it comes to the living space, and for those of you who don't know, we purpose-built Marina and Riviera. So those are our later ships. We purchased the original ships, the R-class ships, we call them. And the bathrooms are quite relatively small on those ships. What we have done, though, that you may find interesting in Penthouse and above and on those ships, and you're on Serena, so it's probably the same, but we've taken out all the bathtubs and we've put in just a large shower, because the shower in the standard accommodations on the R-class ships is quite small, and there wasn't a whole lot we could do to change that. But what we did do with the renovation was we took out the shower curtains. So instead of having shower curtains now, you have a glass sort of door. Did you have that on Serena?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And I mean, the room is well appointed.
Yeah.
Because we're both tall and bigger,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
prefer
Yeah.
probably the walk-in shower.
Yes, and the showers, or sorry, the Marina and the Riviera, when we built those, Frank Del Rio, our founder and our CEO, and he's now in charge of all of NCLH, but he was determined to have the most beautiful bathrooms. And so they have a separate shower, a separate tub, they have marble and granite, they're absolutely beautiful. And because the ships are a little bit bigger, the staterooms are a little bit bigger as well in every category. So you do have more living space on those larger ships than you do on the small ships, because that was where we used a lot of the extra space. But it's a trade-off. Some people, you know, there's no question that the stateroom is nicer on Marina or Riviera, but a lot of people just like the coziness of the little ship.
I very much the small ships for getting around.
Yeah.
And my husband, who's 6'4", hits his head on the shower anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I love it.
How about you, Kathleen? I know, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's good.
Okay.
We like
I know,
all the
Kathleen, you have a couple of trips on the books already, but is there a spot you're looking to go?
Well, you know about the cruise that will take us to a good part of the world. Unfortunately, we couldn't get one that did the whole thing because we wanted to include New Zealand with Australia. So we had to separate our trips and go to New Zealand first, and then hop on the ship and go from Sydney and to Southampton and all of that. But I must say that one of my best memories of sailing is, of course, it was the Baltic cruise, and it was lovely. All the stops were lovely, but it was the people that we met, our dining companions, that we've remained friends with, and every Monday now. I mean, although it's been a year and a half, almost 2 years, because one of the women on the trip lost her husband suddenly. We Zoom every Monday.
Wow.
And it's just, you know, it's our way of helping our friend who lost her husband.
Oh.
And how close we were, and we were always so excited to get back to the ship and share what happened during the day. And everybody had different experiences during the day, but it was, you know, the people that we met and in those places, and the waiter, I mean, they were just so nice. They made a big part of the trip.
Yes.
Well, it's so wonderful to hear you say that, because, you know, it's interesting. We have different presentations that we put together in different ways, but often that's part of what I talk about in my presentation about Oceania, is that it's the people you meet. It's the like-minded people that you're traveling with, and you really are in a unique group of people, and so many people bring home those friendships with them as well. So I'm really glad that you said that, Kathleen, because that is truly one of the benefits, again, of being on a little ship, is you keep seeing those people. And if you want to meet some people and you want to go have dinner together, you can do that, because you don't have a set seating. You can go and sit with whoever you like. So those are all things that I think so many people have made amazing friendships on board our ships. And I'm really, thank you for sharing that, because that's really one of the important things as well.
One of the questions I have, you're talking about a smaller ship, is how about the stability of the ship for people who suffer from motion sickness? What, you know, in a transatlantic crossing?
Yeah.
No problems. They're good.
That's great to hear. You've obviously done that. Yeah, I mean, we have stabilizers and everything else. And you know what? Sometimes a smaller ship, depending on the sea condition, can be even better because they're lower. And if you think about, you know, the motion, if the higher the ship is, the more it's going to sway. So sometimes a lower ship can be even more comfortable than what a big tall ship might be. So yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't think, Laura, did you have to remember what you love about travel? You want to mention anything? Whoops, I think you're muted. There you go.
Can you make the speaker Can you make it so you can see my picture behind me?
Oh, we can
Usually
see
when
a
somebody's
bridge.
talking and they put the yellow box, it'll come up, but we've got another thing going on. I can actually show you when I was on the ship and we went under the bridge and some of the ship and some of where we parked. And
Oh, I see, Laura. I see the ship behind you, the deck on the ship, and I see the bridge. Yeah, and
So
you've
you
kind
can,
of figured into the background of it. But yes, I see the people
you can see
sitting
how
on
close
the
we're
ship.
parked to like a big, huge church right downtown.
Yes,
We went under the bridge.
Where are you?
fabulous.
Where are
This
you?
was in St. Petersburg, so we went up this river, and yeah, we went underneath this bridge that other big ships couldn't get under.
That's
And everybody's
fantastic.
out on the dock, of course, looking up, and then you can see like the setup with the pool and how close we are to this big, huge. I don't know. It's all like we're just going down the river, and this
Oh,
is
yeah.
the view we're getting because we're able to get up right into downtown.
Near the airport.
Yeah, so we're able to see all this stuff. So it's just being able to get closer and up the river farther into town. It makes a big difference.
Beautiful. Thank you for
Awesome.
sharing that. That is great.
Very cool. How about you, Kate? Do you want to share anything about what you might remember about travel?
No.
Fair enough. Colleen,
My
did
dream-
you? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
My dream is to go to Alaska one day.
Ah, and again, Alaska on regatta, so beautiful because you can get so close to the glaciers, to the scenery, to it's so beautiful on a small ship. Absolutely stunning.
Awesome.
Next year, maybe, Kate.
I'm supposed to go this year.
Alaska's been canceled this year, I guess, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, no Alaska this year. Next year.
Next year. Colleen's going to pass as well. I do have a client who couldn't join today, but he and his wife did a whole bunch of NCL cruises, and then I got him to try Regent. Now they love Regent. They won't go back to NCL. But I was explaining to him how Oceania is a sister company of Regent.
Yeah.
So maybe you could spend a minute just explaining the differences or what you see as your sweet spot between you and Regent.
Sure. We are, as you say, sister companies. So it's kind of like a pyramid. The company is called NCLH, and they are actually the parent company of Norwegian Cruise Lines also. So it's a whole family of cruises. But Norwegian Cruise Line is more of that mass market sort of area, bigger ships, family, all kind of things like that. Then you move up to Oceania Cruises, which I always say is like the entry level into luxury. And then you go all the way up to the top to Regent. And so the difference, I would say, between Oceania and Regent is that Regent would be more inclusive. So if you want absolutely everything included, you want your alcohol, you want all your shore excursions, you want everything included, Regent includes it all. Of course, you pay for it in the price because you're getting a completely inclusive. If you don't necessarily, let's say you don't drink, so you don't really care if you have a beverage package and you don't really want to pay for everybody else's beverages. You don't really want to take shore excursion every day. You might take one every now and then. That's when Oceania becomes better value because you only pay for what you're actually using. So we're more inclusive than what a premium market cruise would be. We include your soft drinks and, as I mentioned, all the things that everybody needs we include. But then you can personalize your value to yourself. So that's one of the differences between Oceania and Regent, is just how inclusive they are. The staterooms would be a little bit larger, perhaps, again, because it's that up top luxury on Regent. But if you take a penthouse on Oceania, you have a beautifully spacious penthouse as well. I mean, stateroom as well. So it's all a question of how inclusive you want it to be. Many people sail with both Oceania and Regent. And it's arguable, but Oceania has always been known as the finest cuisine at sea, and we truly have a dining experience that rivals any cruise line out there, and many people say they prefer it even to Regent. So it's certainly arguable, but I do have many people comment on that to me as well. But it's usually destination that determines for people. Many people sail on both Oceania and Regent. It depends. Like maybe you were saying you wanted a cruise that went to both Australia and New Zealand. Maybe at some point in time, Regent had one or we had one, or it's usually the itinerary that determines which of those a person would go on and how inclusive you want it to be. If you want absolutely everything included, you don't want to have a bar bill, you don't want to pay for anything, then Regent is a really good choice for you because they do include absolutely everything. But if you want to be a little bit more selective of your value, Oceania Cruises is a great value for you with that.
Perfect, thank you. And I'll be sharing the recording with him. I was sharing some of that already, but it's great to have your take on it as well.
Great.
Does anyone have any other questions? Kathleen?
Not a question, a comment. Want to say that one thing I enjoyed an awful lot on a longer cruise is having days at sea.
Yes, great.
That sometimes are just, we're going to too many places and
Yeah.
you get mixed up in your mind.
Yeah.
And when you have, like, I like to play bridge. And so when I was on a cruise ship, there was a competition every afternoon and there were interesting lectures and some relaxing time. So you didn't have to miss going to on an excursion, but you just had time to relax. So I really enjoyed that. It's a good balance between active and enjoying other activities, or even going to the gym, or
Oh, right. And it really depends on the itinerary. As you said, some of our longer cruises, it simply takes longer to get from A to B. And so you have to have a couple of days at sea. And in those cases, we would have more of those onboard events for you to, because I do too. I have to admit, I love a day at sea. Sometimes when I'm on an Oceania cruise, I try and pick something that's been to somewhere I've already been before, and I don't really care if I go back. And then I know that I can spend that whole day on the ship and no one, no one to bother me. I'll just be able to have my own sea day. So there is something to be said for sea days. Our itineraries do tend to be quite active, but on the longer cruises, you will often find, a little more time for you to enjoy at sea. Yeah, you want to take a cooking class, you want to go take to the spa, you want to do all these things, and there's a lot of great things to do on board as well.
Any other questions? Robert?
Yes, Catherine, if I go on the website, the prices that are displayed do not include airfare. As an example, Ottawa to Montreal to, say, Europe for a cruise.
Okay, we have on our website, I'm trying to think of how the pricing goes, but you'll have a column that says OLife Choice pricing.
Right.
That does include airfare from published gateways, and our published gateways in Canada would be Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. So if you're in Ottawa, for example, there would be an add-on from Ottawa. But the OLife Choice do include the main air from the bigger gateways, and then there's just an add-on for you. And if you don't want the airfare, there is, I believe, a column that says cruise only.
Cruise only.
And that is cruise only without anything, without OLife Choice, without amenities, without air. It's just the cruise.
With the airfare would be nice. I can't see paddling across the
Atlantic. No, I think it's kind of important that you have the air. I think that there are people
who paddling would be interesting. Some people have a lot of points.
Well, right now you might need to paddle because there's no airlines flying anywhere, so forget the airfare.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
We are actually booked in the Caribbean for January. What do you think the chances are of Canada lifting the no travel ban, because none of us can get insurance for COVID or anything if the travel ban is on? Do you think it's going to be a go?
I wish I had a crystal ball, and I wish I could answer that question. Honestly, we just don't know. And many, many things have to fall into place for all of that to happen. You're absolutely right. All I can tell you is that, first of all, you have the travel assurance plan, so that if for any reason, either you can't get there, you can't get insurance, you just don't feel like it's the right time for you, then you can cancel up to 48 hours prior and get a full cruise credit for another cruise later on. So that is the one thing I can tell you. And if for some reason, and heavens, I hope this never happens, but if for some reason we're not even allowed to or able to sail in January, and we were to cancel that cruise, what we've been doing up until now is giving either a full refund, if that's what you want, or 125% future credit for another cruise. So, those are the only assurances I can give you. I wish I could tell you more than that, but we simply don't know, and we won't know until—
We would like to go on a January cruise very much.
I'm sorry?
We would like to go on the January cruise. We booked the whole month. Why not?
Absolutely. I want to go with you. That would be just fantastic. So let's
no
keep our
kidding.
fingers crossed.
By January, we're all going to be itching.
Exactly.
I'm
I don't want to
itching
wait
now.
till-
Are you kidding? Yeah.
Me too. I
I've had
know.
three trips canceled so far. Everybody else? I know a couple of you
I
guys.
had one. I
5?
was supposed to go in March.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
know.
we're all suffering here from withdrawal.
Absolutely.
Anybody? Sorry, go ahead,
From-
Kate.
From the time when I went on retirement, I never been in Ottawa so long.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that the truth?
You have itchy feet.
Yeah.
I
We're all
certainly do.
travelers.
Go ahead.
Although
Sorry.
we can't, as you said, no crystal ball, and we can't foresee. We're still in June, and things locally are starting to open up. It looks somewhat a little promising if you have a trip in, say, January.
Yeah.
It's still, there's no guarantees, but now that some restaurants are opening and we're heading in the right direction, and we're only in June. We still have 6
True.
months to go. So
We hope. Yes.
Yeah.
we could only hope.
Please. And I'm in Toronto, so yesterday.
No,
was
yeah,
the
you're
night.
in the worst
I
scenario.
haven't still been able to get a hairdo yet. So I can now. It's open. Yesterday, we finally opened, and my appointment's on July the 10th. I can't wait for that either. But yeah, we've been slow. But you know what? Big city. And I think wisely. I mean, I would rather this than what you're seeing in some other parts of the world. So we just have to keep our fingers crossed. It's not only us. It's the whole world that has to cooperate before we can do what we all want to do. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that we're not talking about this situation in
Fingers, toes, knees, everything. Any last minute questions?
No.
Yeah, if you look at my picture again, that's in Lithuania. The Oceania organizes groups, local groups at each port. And so you get to hear the musicians when you're going off onto the dock. You get to hear, and they're dressed in the local traditional costumes and everything.
Fantastic.
Now, Catherine, you don't know this, but Laura and Kathleen are 2 of my best traveled clients. Laura, you're at 168 countries now, right?
158.
158.
Another 37 more to go.
And
Very
Kathleen,
good.
you're up there too?
I haven't counted, I must say.
We'll have to get you to go back and count. Pat, have you counted how many countries you've visited?
No, I haven't, but we love everything.
Now I switched.
We would like to go more.
There you
Before
go.
I was traveling to Europe, to Poland, and visiting some countries, and I was here. So I was in France, in Austria, in Switzerland. Now USA, of course, every year. And now I want to switch for that one. Some cruises. Some
Awesome. And Robert, how about you? You got most of it ahead of you, or have you traveled a lot?
This year it's in Ontario only, but
Okay.
we are planning our 40th anniversary, so we're looking at something for next September or earlier, but
Awesome.
next year.
Nice. Nice.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Catherine, thank you so much for your time.
You are welcome. You've
Thank you so
been
much.
there's such a fantastic group. This has been so much fun for me, and getting all your feedback just makes me even more excited and wanting to not only go on a cruise, but tell everybody else about everything you've told me. So thank you, Sheila, for inviting me. Thanks to all of you for being so warm and welcoming, and for all of your input. It's been fabulous.
Thank you so much. That
This
was
is
really
the Oceania Nautica in this picture.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, my baby.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. I will hit stop record. I will send you the link. And obviously, if you guys need a virtual brochure, we can flip you that. If you're thinking about it, Catherine has gone through the health link, so that will address any questions. And of course, we have the various sales and promos coming up. If you're looking to book for 2021, you got 2022 out now as well.
Yeah, we got much of 2022. So yes.
Most of 2022.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at that, let me know and we can step through the different promos and find what's best for you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.